And Redstar earn possession back. This time last year, Athena were playing also in a top 4 cup final at this very venue. They found themselves 5-0 down after only 21 minutes in that insane 6-3 win to Perth here. And they'll be hoping that they can keep things a little bit tighter in the first half of this first half, at least anyway. Floreat getting here, as Sean mentioned, via that last minute over Redstar in the semi-final. That meant Redstar played in a preliminary final on Tuesday night against Sorrento, and it was a game that they won by 3-2 up at the campus, with Ellis Healing's Screamer securing their rematch with tonight's opponents.
It's Robert Petkov there, just showing the footwork of a winger. The big number 9, he's not just a hold-up man, but doesn't he do that job well?
Ryan Finney was held onto there by Bailey Brown-Montgomery, player who's in the starting lineup tonight. Finney, having started on the bench in midweek. Tom Hoff is the player that he replaces in that position.
I think Ellis Healing is still a bit annoyed that he didn't get a foul earlier, having a word with the 4th official there. Jesse Fuller, perhaps a little bit lucky to get away with just shoving the Red Star number 16 to the ground as he tried to go past him earlier, but just Shane Skinner setting the tone. This will be a physical battle.
Daryl Nichols.
Sorry, Tommy, I was just going to finish up there saying players are going to have to earn their free kicks tonight, I think.
Daryl Nichols with the gorgeous bring down out of the sky before. He actually came off late in that preliminary final in midweek with a little bit of soreness in that hamstring area. Did tell us after the game that it was precautionary though, and as you'd expect, he certainly wouldn't be missing this sort of occasion.
Not ideal, though, with the biggest game of the season coming up. Well, hopefully he is able to complete this game. Larissa Walsh having to leave the pitch in the women's game with an injury. Certainly don't want to see the same with the men's Red Star talisman.
Phil Arnold with a turn around the corner. Govan made the clearance. He then lofted it forward once again. Nickel looking to latch onto it. Was able to lay it off for Healing. Now Finney bursting forward from full back. Coming across was Brown-Montgomery, and he does it on both ends of the pitch. Does Brown-Montgomery. He was then collected by Finney. Subsequently, and Floreat win the free kick.
Yeah, loves to be a nuisance, whether it's by scoring goals or getting in the faces of opposition players or getting back and being a pest defensively. He's had a really wonderful season. A lot of injuries around him to the likes of Petkov and McManus, who we've seen operating at fullback. Desperate times call for desperate measures, but he's done admirably. But in the absence of all those forward players, Bailey Brown-Montgomery stepped up and had a real wonderful season, a huge part of the reason that they are NPL champions and have a crack at another trophy tonight.
Absolutely. Floreat with a real impressive run to end the season. They're unbeaten in 12 coming into tonight's game. The last time they suffered defeat was at home to Armidale. 10 wins in those 12 matches. They scrambled points against Coburn and Bayswater when they were up against it, and in the end those points mattered quite a bit in the final shake-up, finishing 2 points clear off tonight's opponents, Red Star. Matiang, switch of the play here. Brown-Montgomery onside and curling one straight into the back of Finney. Matiang then with a swing and a miss. And Walsh will be able to tidy up over on the far side and get the ball to Chokdor.
Well, the eyes lit up, didn't they, there for Lat Matiang? Didn't get anything near the kind of connection required.
Another player who's made a big impact this season is Matiang. A couple of late winners in particular to pull 3 points out of the fire for the champions. I did speak about that top 4 cup final last year. They have won one here though in recent history. In 2020 they won by 4-0 here against the Azzurri. And actually Nick Ambrogio has registered a brace in each of the last 2 years in the top 4 cup finals, so he'll be one to keep an eye on again this evening. Cross comes in from McManus. Brown Montgomery leaping at the back post. Finney got his header there just in front of the wide attacker. And it'll be the first corner of the evening. Matiang, out-swinging delivery, nearly found its way all the way through to Arnold. Ambrogio had it taken away from him by Higgins. His opposite number 10, now Matiang's peeled into space. Teasing ball in, just evaded Petkov. Might have been a touch on its way through, there was. And Floreat will get another crack at a corner from the other side.
Oh, he's dangerous, isn't he, Lat Matiang? He's a young man with a fully grown man's frame. Belies his young age, the confidence of a much older player as well, to step in and take a penalty like he did in stoppage time against this Red Star side to win the game. Takes some courage.
Here he comes with the corner. Petkov got a glancing touch. And it whistled just wide of the uprights. Matiang actually started the season here at Dorrien Gardens. Was rostered on with the Azzurri side, but then found his way back to Floreat and has since made many an important intervention. As mentioned before, there's Chris Saldaris. Ball was a little short, it allowed React to step in. Punted forward once more for Petkov. Palmer milling around. Higgins got it back to Walsh. Player who's had a good first season here at Red Star, having previously been with the Perth Glory Academy setup for a number of years. Riley Stevenson under the pump. He manages to slide the ball here into touch.
My first touch of the day, Tommy. No, I can't get there. Had it intercepted.
Got to be quicker than that, Sean, in this game. Finney, ball up the line, cut out by Fuller. Versatile player who can play just about any position across the back or at the base of the midfield. Sean McManus spears the pass across. Finney's been busy early on and once again he's cutting this one out. Healing the masked man. Touch from Fuller. Cushioned up by Saldaris. Might break here for Higgins, who's got a wand of a left foot and he uses it to try and release the pace of Chokdor, but sliding in is the equally pacey McManus, who's carved out a bit of a role at right back in the back end of the season with Ben Steele injured. McManus himself was absent for the first half of the campaign through a serious injury himself, but has come back and played his part very nicely.
Yeah, they've really dealt with their injuries this season in a superb fashion. It was where things went wrong the last season when they surrendered that double-digit lead to Perth Soccer Club. They had a batch of injuries that season as well, but didn't deal with it, then picked up suspensions on top of that. This year, they found a way to make it work.
Higgins, lovely touch to get away from Arnold. Switch of the play. Found Healing into the feet of Dorr. Clearance was from Palmer now. Petkov is a little isolated. Brown Montgomery was arriving to give him an option. And he's certainly not going to die wondering in terms of closing down defenders all night long.
Saw Andy Higgins get on the ball before for Red Star. He's a player that perhaps doesn't catch the eye or get the plaudits of spectators as much as he should, but from talking to his peers and coaches around the league, he is one of the top rated midfielders in the NPL.
He's got that real craft and that real guile.
Just doesn't make mistakes.
Actually played in a final series with ECU Joondalup back in 2016. They lost that one on penalties in the prelim. Meanwhile, Nickel will fire off the post. and it ricochets away to safety, and that's a real let-off for Floreat. Inside the first 10 minutes, he couldn't have come any closer.
Well, you don't give Daryl Nicol chances like that and expect to get away with it too often. They have really got away with one. Usually such an unerring finisher. That was almost as good as it gets into the bottom corner. Desperately unlucky for it to ricochet out the other side and for a goal kick.
Closest either team has come so far. Meanwhile, driven ball forward, Arnold in pursuit. Ryan Lowry with his body in the way of the ball. Second spell at the campus, formerly with ECU Joondalup. Actually played in the A-League men's competition relatively recently for Wellington Phoenix.
Phil Arnold's had a good season as well. Probably hitting somewhere near as fit as I've seen him, and starting to enter well into his 30s. I'm sure he won't mind me saying. They're looking in very, very good shape, and he's been very influential for the side this season.
Part of that very experienced core that this Athena side does have. A lot of boys who have been there and done that for a long time. They'd won plenty of night series finals and state cup finals as well. They just couldn't quite get over the hump in winning the league, but they did achieve that this season, of course. Likes of Nick Ambrogio, Dennis Gallen, Chris Saldaris, Jason Saldaris, Phil Arnold, Jesse Fuller, just to roll out some of the names that have been there for a number of years. And shout out as well to Ludovic Boy, who's not in the squad tonight, but has certainly played his part as well over the years. Long-term Athena player.
No surprise that Andy Higgins' first touch after I said he never makes mistakes goes out for a Floreat throw.
It's going to be a free kick for Perth Redstar in their fourth top four cup final of the afternoon, all in consecutive matches. Red Stars women winning the women's top four cup final in the game that preceded us here. They came out on the wrong side of the result in the first two matches, though, in the men's and women's under 20 and under 21 competitions respectively, as Govan launches that one forward. It'll go through to Saldaris, who's had a magnificent season, one of the best goalkeepers in the league for mine, and he's had a couple of crucial performances where he's made a number of saves to ensure his team take all 3 points. He was well and truly beaten, though, by that Daryl Nicol strike a moment ago. Keeps his sheet clean for now, though, and the score stay level.
Just let it go because he knew it was going wide, Tommy.
If that's the case, I wish I was as confident as Jason.
No, you're right. He's a tremendous goalkeeper. One of those goalkeepers that you can back on to make one or two massive saves a game. Saves that you probably don't expect and a goalkeeper shouldn't be making. And when you've got a man between the sticks that can do that, gee, you're a chance in any game.
Govern's pass, missed the mark. Walsh tidied up. Reack, Dorr. Ealing. Finney providing the width. He's got plenty of space as well. Saldaris comes across to meet him. Finney's ball is very deep. Saldaris was under it, and that's actually a really good catch from the goalkeeper, considering the height at which it came down from.
That was like a footy mark backing into the pack, that one, wasn't it?
I'm sure they do plenty of that sort of practice at training, trying to catch those awkward high balls. Quarter of an hour played. Men's top four cup final in the NPL WA competitions. Still goalless. Daryl Nicol strike off the post, the closest we've come. Here is the Scottish striker on the ball. Fizzing. Daisy cutting pass from Hughes. Picked off by Fuller, and now Brown Montgomery comes the other way. Brown Montgomery lays it off. Palmer, Matiang, little tickle around the corner. Palmer continued his run. Arnold got stuck under it. Ball might yet break for Matiang. Now McManus with a low, skimming cross. Brown Montgomery was under the ball, and he tunnelled the defender who was leaping to make the headed clearance, and as a result, Redstar get the free kick.
Yeah, that's the way Shane Skinner saw it, at least. I definitely agree with him. I think that's the type of foul that we don't see given enough in football. Players often get away with it. In fact, Phil Arnold, you said it, misjudged it and it went over him before. I think he was just nudging his direct opponent underneath. It wasn't really aiming to play the ball, so potentially could have been a foul there. But certainly that one, a good decision from Shane Skinner, as they usually are.
Healing. Dorr left it behind, might still be able to capitalise Saldaris' clearance. Hit the forward, and it went behind for a goal kick. Another player who's had a good goal-scoring season is Chock Dorr, 9 goals in his 24 matches to date. Actually spent the past 2 seasons at second-tier Czech club Vesina Hilava, prior to making a return to his first season back in the league. Previous stints with Perth Glory's academy team and with Inglewood United.
Did you catch any Yasiva Halava games, Tommy?
I didn't, unfortunately. My attentions were on the NPL WA, Sean.
A good answer.
Long ball forward here, should be tidied up by Govan, playing against one of his former teams tonight. Hughes, Healing, Sammy Riak. Finney with the ball forward, might reach Healing and does. Redstar quite direct in this first half so far, understandably so when you've got the pace of Nickel and Dorr to utilise, but they do have players in the likes of Higgins and Healing who do have that craft a little close to the goal. Meanwhile, Dorr finds Higgins, wants that left foot, might yet get it. And the strike flows into the apartment complex behind the goal, and add that to the collection of footballs that the residents there probably gather on a weekly basis.
Yeah, I don't know if that one's gone through the door there. Probably not. Probably haven't left the door open on a cold night like this, but yeah, well wide of the target that he was aiming for at the very least. Andrew Palmer needs to be a little bit more careful in possession. That's a careless one to give away in one area of the pitch where you really can't afford to give the ball away, especially against a side like this Red Star team.
Hope someone wasn't having an early night.
Making too much noise here at Dorrien Gardens for that anyway.
Healing. Higgins. Higgins once more. For Chock Dorr. Weaving a passage around the edge of the area. Declan Hughes with a daisy cutter. Blocked by Saldaris. And Floreat clear away, but Redstar having a nice little spell at the moment. Higgins continues his run, gets the better of his opponent, but illegally so, according to Shane Skinner.
Well, very few chances, just the Scotsman smash off the post that you've mentioned a couple of times. But you do feel like it's simmering nicely. It's one of those cagey openings to a cup final, and so often when you have those, you see a few holes open up late in the half as the legs get tired. But both teams very cognizant of not making any mistakes early on.
Well, we'd seen 5 goals this time last year at this point. We've not seen one tonight so far. Goalless. 20 minutes in. Robert Petkov managed to keep that one in play. The runner inside of him was Brown Montgomery. Arnold tees it off. Bailey Brown Montgomery! He is a showstopper! A player who relishes the big stage, the big moment. And he delivers yet again, this time in the Top 4 Cup final. And Athena lead by a 1-0.
Well, he is the man for the big moment. Steps up and smashes that one past the Red Star shot stopper after, it should be pointed out, a very good advantage paid by Shane Skinner for the foul on Bailey Brown Montgomery. Credit to him as well that he just kept going rather than trying to stay down and buy a foul. He got up, carried on and just smashed it into the back of the net.
Standard deliver again. Bailey Brown Montgomery, a 21st minute goal in this NPL WA Men's Top 4 Cup final, and Red Star will have to come from behind if they are to have success in their first ever Top 4 Cup final appearance as either Red Star or as ECU Joondalup for that matter. Red Star's record against Floreat, Sean touched on the record this season at least in the NPL era as both ECU and Red Star. 14 wins for Floreat, 4 wins for ECU, and just the 1 draw in 19 matches. Floreat have actually won the last 6 NPL WA meetings between the pair. You can make that 7 if you include last season's State Cup final, which Floreat also won 1-0 at Inglewood Stadium thanks to Kyle Murray's second half goal. And they have put themselves into a strong position once more to succeed midway through this first half. Game 5 of 5 today. Decent crowd in the house at Dorrien Gardens throughout the afternoon and the evening as well. The floodlights shining down.
Well, I mentioned he's the man for the big occasion. Obviously scored the late goal to win the league for Floreat down at Armidale. He's lucky enough to be there on that day, but he's also the man that you go to if you want a bit of needle. He didn't just score the goal. He can't just score a goal, Tommy. You see him yapping away at someone. I don't know whether it was on the bench or in the crowd, but he loves to wind people up as much as he loves scoring goals.
Brown Montgomery used his body fairly, according to the referee. And then the last touch was off him. Meanwhile, player is down in midfield.
Yeah, I thought the first challenge was actually probably worse than the second. And, of course, that allows Bailey to dispute the foul that was eventually given, as it was almost shoulder to shoulder, the referee determining more in the back of the shoulder. But the tunnelling incident in midfield that we saw given earlier, I think for consistency's sake, it probably should have been given again there.
Rough landing for Finney, who's back on his feet now.
Yeah, tough customer.
And he'll stroll over to throw this one back into play. Higgins with a cushioned ball. Finney with the cross. Might get a second go at it, and does. Whipped in, Nickel, it missed him, but Healing was on the scene! And his volley took a slight deflection on its way through, and Red Star will stay on the front foot via a corner.
Yeah, good answer from Red Star to going behind.
Red Star substitutes off to warm up. Higgins with the in-swinger. 2 fists from Saudaris. Higgins will whip this one in first time again. It's a little bit too close to the goalkeeper though, and neither of those deliveries amounts to a chance. Floreat looked to surge the other way. Govan left it for Healing. Dorr used his body smartly on that occasion. Burning past Arnold, crossing. Saudaris cuts it out. A defender who was actually the leading scorer for Athena last season. He's not had to contribute as much this year at the other end of the pitch, with the likes of Brown, Montgomery and Petkov in the side.
Yeah, he was certainly a weapon at set pieces when Dean Evans was there swinging them in.
Hughes. All the way back for Govan.
Of course, he scored that big goal in the Australia Cup game down at E&D Leaders Stadium against Adelaide United, I think it was.
Yep.
Getting forward and smashing one home from the edge of the area. Unfortunately, going down in extra time there, but that was some performance.
Yeah, proud performance from a WA NPL side that day. Hughes. Little poke away from Ambrogio. Palmer almost turned into trouble there, and he ran into Hughes. Keen to get things moving quickly. Turned out to be a good pass for Nicol, who was trying to burrow his way out of the attentions of a couple of blue and white shirts, and then Ryan Lowry gave away the foul. In midfield, and Floreat have a free kick on halfway.
Yeah, you get a couple of those where you get free rein to trample down the back of the opposition striker. He might get one more. And then you think the card will be coming out a little bit clumsy. But I'm sure he doesn't mind. Just letting Petkov know that he's not going to have an easy night tonight.
So Red Star have had a couple of really good chances in this game, but they find themselves behind. Stevenson hasn't had too much to do in the goal, but he has been beaten via a long-range strike scored by Bailey Brown Montgomery. Yet again, stepping up in Floreat's time of need.
Jesse Fuller, another player on the ball now, who's just does whatever job the team needs of him. I've seen him play some really high-class games as a holding midfielder. Seen him play at centre-half and now at left-back, where Chris Soldaris has played games. He's now tucked in at centre-half, and they found a formula that's working. With just a lot of moving parts and players that are just willing to do whatever they need to do for the team, and a huge reason for Floreat's success this season.
Red Star won at this ground by 4-0 when they came to Dorrien Gardens. A couple of goals for Ellis Healing that afternoon. They'll be looking for that same attacking punch if they are to get back into this one. Bailey Brown Montgomery with a cross, took a deflection, and Athena get the corner.
Yeah, they would desperately love a second here before half-time.
Lart Matiang with the corner. Dangerous delivery. Stooping to get the header in there, I think. It was Ambrogio, possibly. I can't quite see who that is on the ground. It's not Ambrogio because he's on the edge of the area. It was Chris Saldaris, yeah.
I think he just had to throw himself at that. There's really no way he could direct the header. He had to lunge so far under pressure. All he could do was just try and direct it towards the goal. It was a really good effort in the end and deflected out either off defender or goalkeeper, but he looks okay.
Matiang delivered again. Cleared away at the near post. Leaping was Ambrogio. Brown Montgomery lays it wide. McManus, first time ball in. Sliced off the outside of the foot by Riak. And it'll be a corner ball. Floreat cranking up the pressure. Seizing an opportunity to perhaps double their advantage.
Red Star with one of the more aggressive setups I've seen defending a corner. 3 up near halfway.
Matiang, ball in. Stevenson got a glove on it. And we'll have a 4th corner in succession.
Yeah, Healing, Choctaw and Ellis, and Daryl Nicol all up near the halfway line. Rare that you see teams leaving 3 up when defending set pieces. They want to give Floreat something to think about.
Well, it's certainly an open penalty area for Floreat. Matiang whips this one in. Lowry with the firm headed clearance away. Now a chance for these numbers potentially to be utilised. To Sean's point before, Dor drew the contact.
It's intelligent football there from Ambrosio. I don't know how much it was him drawing the contact and Ambrosio saying, I'm grabbing a handful of jumper and you're not getting away from me.
Nick Walsh.
I think it's smart because it's a situation where his back's to goal, he's near halfway. You're probably not going to get booked for it, certainly not if it's your first foul of the night. But it is quite a dangerous situation if you give him a chance to roll you and turn. He just made sure there was absolutely no chance of that. That's just experience.
Just the one goal in this game then so far, but chances for at least a couple more so far. Sean referenced a couple of the 3 fixtures that we've seen earlier in the season, and prior to that as well, 76 goals in 19 meetings in the NPL era as either Redstar or as ECU Joondalup. So if you do the math at home, that's 4 goals a game. Wonder if we'll see that many tonight. Hopefully, for us neutrals at least anyway, and that's certainly the case. Floreat will be hoping that no more are scored. That's not how football works, unfortunately, for the champions.
The only issue I had with what you said there, Tommy, was in Australia we do the maths. We don't do the math.
Never mind the semantics. Brown Montgomery drives forward. And he's hauled down by a retreating Dor, who receives a yellow ticket from Shane Skinner.
Yeah, that's one you could see go either side of that seesaw. You could get a warning or you can receive a booking. I don't think he can complain. He knew what he was doing. Brown Montgomery driving into a dangerous area.
And now a chance for their set-piece guru, Matiang, to line one up.
Long way out. It's going to take something very special to beat Stevenson from here.
Well, if anyone's capable, it's him. At least in this Athena team anyway. Matiang will size this one up. 3 in the red wall for Redstar. Matiang's hit almost turned into a cross, and then it was nearly forced home by an arriving Chris Saldaris. Just couldn't quite get over it. Stevenson maybe did just enough to try and make himself as big as possible, and that proved a worthy distraction as Floreat missed a chance to go 2-0 up.
And it's one of those ones in football that you never see a foul given for it because obviously it leads to a penalty. But when the players got to the ball first, kicked it over the bar, and then they get cleaned out by the goalkeeper, if it's any other player anywhere else on the pitch, it's a foul. But you don't tend to get penalties for them, especially not if you're a goalkeeper.
Fuller's ball forward. Petkov in pursuit. Stevenson claiming the goalkeeper actually joined Redstar mid-season, arriving from Balcatta in July. He was originally cover for Joe Pollard, who went over to the UK for a trial. Pollard started the season in goal. Pollard has since returned, and Stevenson has kept his place in goal. Meanwhile, Arnold lifts one. It was on target, but it was never going to trouble the aforementioned Stevenson.
Strong defending there from Jesse Fuller. Had Choctaw in a physical battle with him and barely budged by the Redstar number 14. Stood strong, won the header. Put Floreat on the counter. Brown Montgomery, again, just trying to make a nuisance of himself as Redstar try and collect the ball.
Hughes. Strike from distance. Fumbled initially by Saudaris. He's able to catch it the second time of asking.
Yeah, he wanted a free kick there for the contact after the shot from Arnold. But Shane Skinner staying consistent.
Riak. Walsh. Ball over the top gives Healing something to chase. Across was Gallen. Higgins moved forward for Dorr, who's got the pace to get there ahead of Saudaris. Chock Dorr. Tried to keep his feet. Last touch was off. Saudaris. And Redstar get a corner. Higgins, ball whipped in, Saudaris under it. A good, authoritative piece of goalkeeping. And the stopper came off a little worse for wear in the 6-yard mixer.
They are hard ones to take, though. I mentioned before when he claimed that ball backing into a pack, it was like a footy player taking a mark, and anyone that has played enough footy knows that those where you're backing in and have to extend your arms up, you get any contact to the ribs or kidneys, they can shake you up a bit. And Jason's a big man. Won't go down for nothing.
Gabriel De Felice is the backup goalkeeper tonight, the young stopper. Good luck trying to get Jason Saudaris off this pitch, though, a man who's won plenty of silverware in his time with Athena. Very long time ago now that he and brother Chris joined from Bayswater City. It was like a lifetime ago that they were wearing the black and blue of Baysy.
Certainly before my time following the league. I can't even imagine it. Just doesn't seem right.
Hughes. Player who was actually part of Perth Glory's Asian Champions League squad back in 2020 when they went out to Qatar. It was a very young side with mainly academy players that went over to the Middle East to compete in that competition. Nickel. Lurking again, leaping, trying to compete for the ball. Saudaris back there and punting upfield. Hughes. He's got excellent passing ability. This one might be a peach to pick out Dorr. It just had a little bit too much zip on it, though. And
nice idea.
Floreat will take their time over the goal kick. So, touch over 5 minutes to play before half-time. Athena leading by a Bailey Brown Montgomery goal to 0. Floreat looking to complete a treble and make it a season to remember. Redstar might have something to say about that, though. Healing tickles the pass forward. Daryl Nichols in the area! And it was straight at Saudaris. Once again, but it's risky business, allowing the league's golden boot winner to have as much space as that in behind.
Yeah, we've seen what he can do. We know what he can do. Floreat fortunate again that wasn't his best effort.
A couple of efforts which have come to him on his left foot this season. 32 goals. And league and top 4 this season for the Scot, one of the goats of the NPL WA era, fair to say. And we don't use that term lightly. Meanwhile, Matiang takes the free kick quickly.
Space now.
Finds Ambrogio, whipped in again. Petkov, tough one to bring under control. Maybe in two minds as to whether to try and turn that one first time or bring it under control, and he did neither in the end.
Yeah, usually so good with his first touch. Apparently his teammates call him the squid. So it's like he's got 8 limbs. He can pull balls in from anywhere. That one let him down a little bit. I think you're right. I think he just didn't know in his mind what he wanted his body to do.
Double figures last season for Inglewood. They were the league's leading scorers last year.
A huge part of Floreat's success this season when he's been available. Went on a stretch towards the end of the season, scoring goals in 8 out of 10 games near the end.
Nichols cross-chested down by Dorr, but he gave away the foul.
We were talking at the start of the season about who we were liking the look of, and one of the main reasons we all thought Floreat would be up there challenging was that they're adding this player, well, getting this player back that used to play at Floreat, had a spell at Inglewood, and just has the ability that they didn't really have in the squad. Someone, when they need it, can take a long ball, can hold it up, but he's so much more than that as well. It's sort of damning him with faint praise to call him a big hold-up man.
Fully franked as well by 2 goals in the night series final all the way back in March, which had us all thinking that night that he was going to be in for a prolific season, and he's hit 13 for the campaign. He probably could have had a few more as well, but he did miss a little portion of the season out with injury, and as Sean said, he's delivered at the business end of the campaign. Here he is on the ball. Brown Montgomery tickles the pass to his strike partner. Petkov then left it behind. Palmer lays it off. Phil Arnold from range! It's an all-action Athena first half at Dorrier Gardens. They lead by 2-0, and they're on course to complete a treble. Arnold! With an efficient first half showing on Top 4 Cup final night.
Well, similar to the Bailey Brown Montgomery strike, wasn't it? Same sort of area, same sort of strike. Caught it well enough. Well, he caught it really well. 2-0 now. I said they'd love a goal before half-time. That is right before half-time. And when they went 2-0 up against Armidale on the last day of the season, when they needed to win, I said, Ambrosio won't get away with this time. This time. He did it earlier, didn't get away with it that time. I said when they went 2-0 up, they got one hand on the league title. They obviously then conceded 2 in the second half and made it an almighty nervy finish. So I won't say anything like that today, especially considering their opponents. But it is a big, big goal.
And the timing of it as well.
I was just going to say, at the perfect time to change the halftime team talks, as they say. Redstar got some thinking to do.
1 more minute of injury time to complete this first 45.
1 minute.
I say complete the first 45. 45's obviously up.
I know what you meant, Tommy.
It's been a long day.
It always is, but we always get through it. We've got some pretty good football action to help us along the way.
Absolutely. We're very lucky, very privileged. An absolute joy to get around the grounds, meet with the people at various clubs, be a part of their seasons, and take in some of the local football. Players do a magnificent job in entertaining us throughout the year, and all roads lead to the final game of the season, which is tonight's top 4 cup final, and it's a match which Floreat Athena lead by 2-0. Goals from Bailey Brown Montgomery and Phil Arnold, both from outside of the penalty area, both fine finishes, and both giving Riley Stevenson no chance in the Red Star goal. Red Star haven't been without their chances, though. A couple of good ones fell to Daryl Nickel. One of them crashed off the inside of the post on the way to safety, and another volley from Ellis Healing took a deflection and went wide of the mark. Some encouraging signs for Red Star. All is not lost just yet for them, but at the moment it's Floreat who are leading by 2-0 and are in a very strong position going into the second 45. Half time here at Dorrien Gardens. Floreat 2, Red Star 0. Welcome back to Dorrien Gardens. Top 4 Cup final number 5 tonight. The NPL WA men's final between Floreat Athena and Perth Redstar. Athena 2 goals to the good. Goals both scored outside the box. Both goals scored by Bailey Brown Montgomery and Phil Arnold. Redstar not without hope completely though. They carved out a couple of good opportunities in that first half, and if they can get one in the first 15 minutes or so of this second half, Sean, then it's well and truly game on with the attacking players they have.
Oh, absolutely. This is probably the side that I would back the most to peg at least one back and threaten this 2-goal lead of anyone in the league. Obviously, there was very little to split them on the final day of the season. I'd be surprised if Red Star don't give this a red-hot crack in the second half as McManus pops one in.
Cross from McManus. Petkov was under it. Stevenson saw it and caught it. No changes from either side at the interval, worth mentioning. Worth noting that Red Star were out very early at the beginning, or before the beginning of this second half. Gallen. Header away from Riak. Higgins, lovely control. Cliche alert, cultured left foot.
You love that one, don't you, Tommy? Thank you for joining us, by the way, wherever you are watching around the world. We've got Tony Hughes tuning in from Malaysia. And Bailey Brown Montgomery's Nan watching as well. Keep those messages coming. It's great to have you, whoever and wherever you are.
Yeah, we really appreciate your company. Not just in this game, but throughout the whole day today, all 5 matches. Wins in the 18s. NPL for Glory's men. They also succeeded in the 20s as well with a 1-0 win over Red Star. And in the women's competitions, 2 finals, Hyundai NTC winning the 21s by 3-1. And in the NPL WA women's final, it was Red Star who went unbeaten and conquered all with 4 pieces of silverware following a 3-0 win over NTC. 2-0 for Floreat here. In the final of those matches, Hughes looks to spin the ball across for Higgins. Palmer doing his defensive work. Saudaris slides the clearance out wide. It turned out to be a pretty good pass for Brown Montgomery. Now Chris Saudaris. Floreat's defensive. We spoke about Red Star's record this season. They're the second best team for a reason. They've actually got the best attacking record in the league. 62 goals in their 22 matches, plus the 3 they scored midweek in the prelim. As Sami Riak gets a booking for a pullback on Robert Petkov. And saying that, Floreat Athena's defence is also the 6th best in the league. So the statistics at least say that Red Star remain with a puncher's chance.
Not sure whether it might have been Blair Govan getting the booking. He seemed to be the player that had a handful of collar. Regardless, there has been a booking for the challenge on Petkov. He wasn't too happy with it, was he?
Matiang's on the free kick. McManus was actually making the run wide right, and he was untracked, and he'll get time to assess his options. Aimed in deep. The header was from Ambrogio in there.
Yeah, crafty one from the set piece. One off the training pitch. Just confusing the run of the defenders.
Usually a winger is McManus, so he's more than accustomed to bursting down.
Very capable of putting a ball in, yeah.
Saudaris high into the Dorrien Gardens night sky. Comes down and bounces out for a Red Star throw.
Again, a shirt pull there. It's been a lot of that tonight. Mark Matiang getting tugged back.
Well, after a long, hard and arduous campaign, Sean, sometimes a little bit easier to pull back the shirt rather than make that lung-busting run on the last day
Just
of
grab
the
on
season.
and hold on tight, you reckon?
Govan gets it back for Stevenson, whose clearance will go into the Red Star dugout. McManus, little lofted ball forward. Lowry with the clearance. Lifted forward by Jesse Fuller. Brown Montgomery lost his footing. Finney emerged with the ball.
Oh.
His pass hit Fuller. Brown Montgomery got back up to his feet, and now he's got acres of space down this left-hand side. He was looking to repeat his solo run and strike that he scored last week against Red Star at E&D Leader Stadium, but Riak cut that one out
there when he got back on his feet, could he?
And Riak is just taking on all comers down the right-hand side, but Palmer was across swiftly to poke into touch. Don't forget, tomorrow we've got State League Division 1 Finals Day, another 4 games to sink your teeth into, starting from 9 a.m. Just the Division 1 18s final. And then the 20s, the State League Division 1 men, and also the State League women's as well. Bumper weekend of action here at Dorrien Gardens. Well and truly past the halfway mark of the weekend. And Floreat look on course to cap an excellent season. They lead by 3 goals to 0. Gallen got in a little bit of a tangle with Nickel. Managed to find Palmer with the pass, who was caught late. And felt the contact, and Athena get the free kick.
Just not sure that Red Star have the firepower off the bench to come on and change the game late on. They might have to lean heavily on the man that scored the bulk of the goals across the league this season in Daryl Nickel, but he's been kept quiet after those couple of chances in the first half. And how different could this game have been if that first one went in off the inside of the post instead of across the face of goal and out the other side?
I feel a few more touches for these players like Healing and Higgins with that guile are required if they are to find that killer ball, which would release a chance for Dorr or Nickel or any of the midfield runners.
I do have Kyle Murray on the bench, of course, Red Star, along with Tommy Hoff, Oscar Malfiore. Some quality footballers. Whether they can come on and change the game, we'll have to wait and see.
Red Star have some defending to do before they can think about attacking. Matiang's ball in. Header was away from Govan. Healing should be able to keep that one in play. Forward he goes. McManus from long range. Fancies his chances with a speculative strike.
He's getting a bit fed up with not getting to take a shot on goal, I reckon. Saw it open up.
You reckon he's missing the final third?
I think he is, for sure. I don't think you can be a forward and play at full-back and not miss it to some degree, but it doesn't mean he hasn't done an incredible job at full-back this season. And I already raved in the first half about how the willingness of Athenans this season to play wherever they're required is the reason they are on the verge of a treble. 25 and a half minutes away, if my maths doesn't let me down?
It has. 35.
Oh, it had to be that moment. Usually my arithmetic's pretty good, but obviously not on this occasion. It's been a long day, all right? It's a 12-hour day for us, if my maths is okay.
Stolen one out of my book of phrases. Here's Riak turning away for Higgins. Would like to see him on the ball a little bit more. Here's another who can pass the ball in Hughes. Declan Hughes. Little poke across for Chalk Door. Converged upon by 3 blue and white shirts. Floreat getting the ball back. Lowry with the brave header. Will only reach Palmer, who lifts it wide for Brown Montgomery. Just can't take your eyes off him, the inside forward for Floreat. And remarkable to think as well, he was playing in Division 2 last season at Joondalup City. And if you have a look at his statistics, I can't say I watched too much of Joondalup City last year, but he didn't exactly blow the lights out in terms of his statistical return, but he's certainly showed that he's delivered this season. Meanwhile, firm challenge in midfield, and I believe that was only a yellow card which was brandished by the referee.
Yeah, it was, and that's really good refereeing. One of the things you're taught as a referee is when you see one of those tackles that you're confident needs a booking but isn't a red card, you blow the whistle firmly, you get the yellow card out nice and early, and that helps to just set tempers a little bit at ease. Players will back off. They know the punishment's been given. And so excellent refereeing by a very experienced official there, and the right call. I think it wasn't too bad of a tackle. The studs weren't raised. It wasn't high on the leg or anything. It was just a little bit of a lifted foot and a challenge that could be dangerous, you know, if angles were slightly different.
Tommy Hoff looks as though he's doing some stretches. A player who can add a little bit of energy in midfield, potentially maybe a little bit more drive as well. Brown Montgomery lifted away by Riak. Declan Hughes for Ryan Finney. Higgins stabbed away by Palmer. Retreating is Ryan Lowry. Higgins again for Nick Walsh. Hughes. Gorgeous pass to pick out Door. What a switch of the play that was. Nickel with a snapshot. Saudaris saw it and dived to his left. Another half chance for Daryl Nickel. Couldn't beat the goalkeeper again, though.
He hasn't had a huge amount to do in terms of saves, Jason Soldaris, but everything he's been called upon, he's handled well.
Govan barged into Ambrogio there from behind. Lifted forward by Gallen. Headed from Govan. Arnold with a layoff. Andrew Palmer with a skimmer. Will dink forward again for Phil Arnold. Scorer of that crisp second goal for Athena. Meanwhile, Matiang with a lovely piece of footwork. Gets away from Hughes. Pulls it across goal. And arriving was Palmer, and scrambling across was Stevenson. And Redstar stayed down by 2.
Well, how about that bit of magic on the near touch line, and created the chance that Palmer just threw himself at it. You said it, tried to bundle it in. And that is a top save. If Redstar are to get a goal or two and get back in this game, you look back at that moment as a pivotal turning point.
Doesn't score many, Andrew Palmer, yet to register in 2022. It's as good a chance as he's going to get tonight, you'd suspect, given the position he plays. Nickel turning away from Saudaris. Cross comes in. Walsh was arriving late on the scene. Gallen will try to just shield that one out. And he did the job that he was hoping to do. So an hour played at Dorrien Gardens. Redstar look as though they're about to prepare a couple of changes for the final half hour. Athena 2, Redstar 0. Brown, Montgomery and Arnold with those first half goals. No change to the score after 45 minutes. Top 4 Cup final action with you on NPL.tv and on the Football West Facebook page and the YouTube channel tonight. Tommy Dolman and Sean Fry with you on the call.
Redstar substitution leading the field of play. Number 19, Ryan Finney. Be replaced by number 8, Tommy Hoff.
So Finney off and Hoff on. Looks as though Hoff will take Finney's position on the right-hand side of that Redstar defence. Player who may get forward a little bit more than Finney, a little bit more of an attacking instinct, given he is a midfielder. Ambrogio, Petkov, dribbling towards goal, laying off for Arnold, who in turn picks out Brown Montgomery to the byline, flashed, palmed away by Stevenson, and Matiang struck. He was met by a firm challenge. I think it was Declan Hughes who got there to snuff out the danger, and it was an important block.
Well, you know Phil Arnold's feeling confident when he's doing step-overs on the top of the 18-yard box. Floreat have their tails up. Redstar, you would think, need a goal soon. If they get it, it's going to be a very interesting final 25 minutes or so.
Hughes felt the contact and drew the foul. He and Matiang exchange a couple of words, but play resumes promptly.
Yeah, Hughes just starting to cut a bit of a frustrated figure out there when he's not getting the fouls he wants and when he gets clattered into like that.
That was a good pass, but McManus matched Walsh for pace. Prodded away by Gallen. Palmer spins the pass wide for Brown Montgomery. Had his back to goal. He'll then try to take on Hoff. Hoff's got the fresh legs, though, and used a little bit of his body to usher Brown Montgomery away from the ball. Higgins, Hoff, had it pinched away from him. Petkov, driving towards goal. Brown Montgomery tries to wriggle away from Lowry. Hoff substitutes. The only one made by either team so far this evening. It sends the ball upfield. That's easy pickings for Athena's defence. Saldaris. Healing. Higgins. Hughes. Sends the pass long. The intended target was Dorr. It was a little bit too narrow for the Red Star flyer. Riak. Player who had so much success on Wednesday night, picking up the ball and driving forward with it. Maybe they need a little bit of that impetus to Callum Salmon's team if they are to get back into this one. They want to throw over on the far side. Red Star so agonisingly close to winning the league title this year. What have they got up their sleeve for the final 25 minutes or so? Stevenson's a long way out of his goal. Not the most convincing of clearances you'll ever see, and he's out of his goal. Ambrogio opted to recycle possession instead of going for a optimistic attempt. Brown Montgomery couldn't tiptoe past Riak. Now Hughes. Higgins. Into the feet of Nickel. This is a little bit better from Red Star in terms of the build-up. Nickel was fouled by Gallen. Shane Sinner said play on. Now McManus and Healing are in a foot race. McManus, though, with so much pace, and Healing looks as though he's pulled up here. And that doesn't look great at all for Red Star's captain off your picture at the moment. He's very slow in coming back. Play continues.
Just after that clash between Nickel and Gallen, Gallen got a little tap on the ankles from Daryl Nickel as he was lying on the ground, just reached out, and a little bit of frustration and needle coming into this game, so watch this space.
Healing looks as though he's carrying something here. He'll try and run it off. The last thing they need to lose their skipper in a time of need. Chasing this game midway through.
Just holding that quadricep area. It seems to be running it off okay, or no, he's not. He's not.
Doesn't look as though he's going to be okay to continue. Floreat will look to try and capitalise.
Yeah, he can't run it off, unfortunately, and that's a shame. You can see the frustration. He's shaking his head. He knows his night's done.
And Kai Murray is going to be the player to replace him. Scorer of a goal here at Dorrien Gardens this season in the 4-0 win against Perth Soccer Club. Red Star would love one from him here in their bid to give themselves a chance. Healing comes off to a round of applause. Been really good to see Ellis Healing back, playing regular football this season. He's had a couple of testing seasons with injury, but he's registered plenty of goals this season, 9 in total. Can only hope that that injury is nothing too serious. Red Star do get a free kick. Govan takes it short. Declan Hughes tries to release Nickel. Govan. Walsh. Dorr. Inboard for Hughes. Little past the feet of Nickel. Hughes again from distance, deflected, it bobbles. Gratefully into the clutches of the goalkeeper, Saldaris. Riak. Hughes. Nickel. Hoff left it for Murray. Higgins has taken the captain's armband from the departed Healing. And Red Star get another free kick. Phil Arnold there just being a rapscallion, trying to slow Red Star's prospects down.
If there's any rapscallionery out there, you don't usually have to look too far past Brown Montgomery or Phil Arnold. It's usually one of the two.
Two scorers of tonight's goals as well. Jared Rezai has been prepared by Floreat Athena. Meanwhile, Higgins puts the free kick in. Ryan Lowry with a header! It's a brilliant header. It's a Red Star response that reignites their hopes of winning the top 4 cup tonight.
Perth Redstar goal scored.
Floreat Athena 2, Perth Redstar 1. Touch under 20 minutes to play at Dorrien Gardens.
Well, well, well. There's one to set the cat amongst the pigeons. Athena have had a history of giving up leads, but then getting the job done, certainly this season.
Nick Ambrogio is going to depart. Jared Rezai is going to enter the field.
Substitution, leaving the field of play number 10, Nicholas Ambrosio. Replaced by number 17, Jawad Rezai.
Yeah, Rezai's a quality footballer, as we know. He'll be bringing buckets of energy, I'm sure, to this final 20 minutes. Here he is, first chance on the ball.
Capable of playing anywhere in those attacking midfield positions, left, right, and centrally. Here he is bursting forward straight away. Floreat looking to react almost immediately. Petkov's layoff, it was slightly wide of the mark for Arnold.
Well, we knew that Red Star would come. We knew that it wasn't going to be an easy second half for Floreat, and that goal really makes things interesting here.
Higgins. Chock door. A bit of pep in the Red Star step. All of a sudden. It's amazing what a goal can do, Sean.
Andy Higgins just prowling on the shoulder now. Look to get into that hole. The number 10 in the number 10 slot to see what he can create with the armband on.
Lowry's ball forward. Fuller picks it off. Really puts a foot wrong to Jesse Fuller. Looks inboard for Rezai. The recent introduction into tonight's match. Riak finds Higgins. Starting to see him get a little bit more involved in the play. And then Gallen was late on Nickel.
Yeah.
Red Stars players are saying, that's happened a couple of times, ref.
Yes, yeah, I did mention earlier you get a chance to leave one or two down the back of the opposition striker. Petkov's had a couple of nibbles at the back of his heels. Likewise, Nickel. And the Red Star players perhaps just suggesting that one was a little too far over the line in terms of not really an attempt to win the ball, just an attempt to leave a mark on the back of the calf of the league's leading goal scorer. Regardless, it is an opportunity now to equalise.
The last time they had a free kick in a promising position, it led to a goal. What can Higgins produce with the latest of these dead balls? It's aimed in deep. The header was won again, and Dorr was nearly at the drop. And springing off his line to smother was Saudaris.
Yeah, good quick reactions from the Athena number 1. And all of a sudden, do Floreat Athena start thinking about taking 15 to 30 seconds off the clock whenever they get a dead ball or a throw-in? When you start doing that, do you lose the impetus, the momentum? A man full of impetus and momentum at the moment, Andy Higgins.
Forward from Riak. Brought down brilliantly by Higgins. Nickel into play with Higgins once more, who's really coming to the fore.
He's got his tail up, hasn't he?
Pass out wide for Choctaw. Continuing his run was Walsh. The clip in, arriving! It had to be him! Only one man could deliver when Red Star needed him most, and that was Daryl Nicol. Goal number 33 in league and top 4 this season, and Red Star come from the clouds and are level at 2 apiece.
Oh, you said it, Tommy. It had to be him. They've kept him quiet in this second half, but you can never write that man out. Went so close to opening the scoring, and now he has that goal, and all of a sudden, we're back where we started.
Well, we referenced it in one of the earlier games today. When you have the lead, maybe it's not by design, but subconsciously you take a step back and the opposition take a step forward. And that's kind of what's happened. Red Star are suddenly the team with the impetus here. From 2-0 down to 2 apiece.
A huge influence, as we've already mentioned, from Andy Higgins, pivotal in a couple of build-ups to their recent chances.
He's the man, isn't he?
Yep. He's just taken this game by the scruff of the neck in the last 10 minutes.
He's the player who stepped up for Red Star when they needed him. It's as if the captain's armband has given him some magical power.
Yep, it's a little bit like that.
They have, however, conceded a free kick, which has quelled the enthusiasm of the Red Star support for a moment or two. Matiang with the latest delivery. The header was away. Razai closed down by Higgins. Inspiring stuff, winning the ball for his team in midfield. And Red Star are bursting forward again via Riak. He ran into Gallen, who got back up again. And he's got to hurry because Riak is in hot pursuit.
Oh, beautiful ball.
Beautiful pass, as you say, Sean. Hoff got a foot in. It's a poke away from Brown Montgomery.
That's big from Dennis Gallen. You were 2-0 up. All of a sudden, Red Star have pegged you back to 2-2, and you've got a player with that sort of pace and ability running at you. Stood strong, stood tall, and then got back up and played a beautiful 40-yard diagonal on top of it.
Nicol. Andy Higgins. Sammy Riak. Now Blair Govan. Choctaw. Red Star with some oomph now all of a sudden. Another gorgeous pass from Higgins, this time for Kai Murray. Cross comes in. Higgins is arriving! And he made contact as well. It was an outstretched leg and he just couldn't divert the ball either side of Saudaris.
Yeah, a few questions about the contact on the Red Star man as he threw himself at that. I think it was Dennis Gallen just providing a physical presence. The Red Star players, of course, will suggest it was on the wrong side of the laws. Probably not quite enough in it for me to suggest it should be a penalty. You certainly don't want a game like this decided by a moment like that. Not that that should come into the referee's decision-making, of course, but I do think it was the right call.
Worth reminding you that if scores are level at full time, I'm surprised I'm saying this, given the status of the game about 15 minutes ago. We will go to extra time, 15 minutes each way, and then a penalty shootout if we are still level after that.
You fancy another half an hour, Tommy?
Always. Sliding challenge from Govan. Matiang with the throw.
Red Star would have bitten your hand off for an extra 30 minutes, taking this game to extra time just a quarter of an hour ago. Now, I'm not sure. I think they might be thinking they could get this done in the 90. Especially the way Andy Higgins is operating and Daryl Nichols got his goal and he's going to start worrying Soldaris and Gallen.
Worth reminding you, Athena won with a last-minute goal last week against Red Star. They also won with a last-minute goal by 3-2 at the campus. They pipped Red Star to the title in the final minutes of the regular season.
Surely they can't do it again.
And at E&D Leaders Stadium, the teams also played out a 3-2 game. These two have gone hammer and tongs all season long. Fitting that it does come down to the final 10 minutes to decide who collects the final piece of silverware in 2022, plus perhaps a little more.
It feels like we haven't seen, well, we have seen a Robert Petkoff goal quite recently. That was the winner the last time, but we haven't seen him have too many opportunities tonight.
Walsh,
could he be the man to step up and win it?
With the interception, Dorr breezes past Gallen. Slides the ball into the channel for Nickel, who's got to wait for the support to arrive in the middle. Forward it streams now. It was drilled in low into Fuller and out for a throw. What a league.
Cannot take your eyes off it.
Hoff with a cross, shouts for handball against Palmer, nothing doing.
Floreat Athena do not like to do things the easy way. But so far this season, all questions that they have been asked, they have answered. They haven't always had the hearts of their supporters in mind with the way that they've done it. Will this be a bridge too far, or will they prove that champion mentality once again?
Armidale pegged them back to 2-2 on the final day.
Very similar situation to what we've got here. Very similar opportunity for this man to step up and be a hero once again, perhaps.
They found a way then. Can they find a way again tonight? A box office finish to the 2022 NPL WA men's season.
I find myself, I keep saying, could this man be the hero? Could this man be the hero? This game has potential heroes all over the pitch.
Lowry headed away. Petkov is offside in any instance. Red Star's record against the other top four sides around them has been what's let them down this season. They lost 5 of their 6 meetings home and away against the other top 4 teams during the campaign. And if they'd eked out a point or two here and there, it might have been a better result for them. They're currently 2-2 in this top 4 cup final against the champions. Cross comes in from Arnold. It's over the head of all comers. Mattiang will try to latch onto it at the end of that delivery, and Walsh will spin that away.
Seeing a lot more hoofs into touch. I reckon we will over the next 10 minutes than we have for the first 80 of this game, as players do not want to make that final mistake that cost you the cup. Maybe it'll take a bit of bravery on the ball.
Turned around the corner by Palmer. Jared Razai keeps it in play. Sliding in was Govan.
Yeah, superb defending. Last-ditch tackles. Players giving everything, throwing their bodies at any challenge they need to. That's exactly what was required from a Red Star perspective there. Another Lat Mattiang corner.
Mattiang's ball in. Could have broken absolutely anywhere after it went through the legs of Palmer. Ultimately, the final touch was off a stooping Brown Montgomery.
Sam Riak's down.
And Riak, will he need some treatment here? Shane Skinner's just giving the midfielder an opportunity to gather himself. Oscar Malfiore is getting set to come on.
Yeah, I think Callum Salmon's just saying, yeah, come off.
And that looks as though that is going to be the switch. Riak with an absolute power of work, as always, in the centre of the park.
Perth Redstar substitution, leading the field of play, number 2, Sam Riak. Replaced by number 11, Oscar Malfiore.
Looks as though he's limping off, holding a similar area that Healing was clutching at. Hopefully nothing too serious for him either. Either way, Red Star have some fresh legs on the pitch. Just the one change made by Floreat so far, with Rezai coming on for Ambrogio.
Yeah, we've said it a few times, the tail end of a long season. A couple of muscle injuries for Red Star. The players continue to throw their bodies in, and Andy Higgins continues to run the show. Surprised it didn't pick up a free kick there.
Possession turned over. Petkov streams away. Outside, inside, back outside again. Bit off a little bit more than he could chew. Still managed to get it to Rezai though. Govan slid in. Palmer nodded down. Kyle Murray. Walsh up the line for Dorr. Lay off for Higgins. Yet another classy touch. Walsh then tried to just help it past Gallen, who went back in for seconds.
Yeah, clever little lift there from Dorr to get the ball over. Sliding McManus, who's starting to throw his body around.
Matiang brushes Higgins off the ball. Palmer was there in support. No
And
foul.
Higgins might have left one in on Palmer there.
And then the pass from Murray was a little wide of Walsh. And maybe there was a little element of ball don't lie about that moment. Brown Montgomery. Pass hit the heels of Arnold. Murray once more. Hoff. Switch of the play. Cushioned down by Higgins. Ball over the top from Walsh. This is an absolute peach if it reaches Dorr, and it does. Tries to jink past McManus. A couple of pacey customers there to the left of your stream. Dorr once more. Little ball into the centre of the park for Murray. Malfiore. Murray. Malfiore gets the return. Couple of substitutes linking up. Now Walsh, who provided that lovely cross for Nichols' equaliser. Malfiore forward again. The header away from Saudaris. Palmer under pressure. Higgins steps in to his outside is Walsh. Rezai was tracking him. Walsh. Cross was skewed off the outside of the boots. And we've got about a minute and a half to play before the fourth official's board goes up. Who's going to be happy with extra time if we get there, Sean?
I think that's pretty obvious. I think Red Star will be delighted. They've got the momentum. They'd obviously love a late winner. I actually spoke to the Floreat Athena president, Connor, half-time. He said players are a little bit more relaxed about this one. Obviously, the league was their main focus, but I can tell you there's nothing relaxed about this now. They want this, and they want it bad. They really need to find a way to quell Andy Higgins' influence if they can't find a winner. But Kyle Murray's also come on and been tidy in midfield, and all the parts just working at the moment. It feels like, obviously, the 2 goals are a big part of it, but it feels like they just have the momentum. But do not write Floreat off for a stoppage time winner, let me tell you.
Another example of why the post-season competition is Such an excellent way to end the season. The best of the best facing off against each other. A showpiece event, and usually an excellent game, as this one has been tonight. Floreat Athena and Perth Redstar putting on a show. We're going to have 4 more minutes of regulation time to see if we can determine a winner before extra time is required.
Yeah, handy chunk of change. Plenty of time for a winner at either end.
Higgins. The ringleader in this Redstar comeback. Turned away by McManus. Ball's going to break for Dorr here. Callum Salmon pacing around his technical area. Replaced Kenny Lowe as head coach up in the northern suburbs. Looking to win a first piece of men's silverware for Redstar since the merger between ECU Joondalup and Northern Redbacks.
This really has been one of the most competitive NPL men's seasons, hasn't it? We had 3 teams that could have won the league on the final day. Had things been different in one of several instances, Redstar could be champions.
Twists and turns, thrills and spills.
They may end up with nothing. They may still end up with a top 4 cup.
You wouldn't expect anything else from this league.
And then we, of course, had Coburn winning the state cup as well. Just surprise there. Almost any team can knock off any team. A couple of strugglers down the bottom that didn't get wins, but apart from them, this league season has been full of those twists and turns you mentioned. Can't wait for an extra 30 minutes here if we don't find a winner. Over to you to call the last bit, Tommy.
Can either team turn the screw one last time? It's been a breathless game. Floreat, 2 goals to the good, pegged back by Redstar. Hughes kept his footing when Palmer didn't. Bursts away. The interplay with Nickel, the layoff wide for Kai Murray. Redstar with numbers in the area. Higgins is arriving, so too Dorr, and Daryl Nichols at the back post!
Perth Redstar goal scored by number 9, Daryl Nichols!
A comeback for the ages! And one which will live in the Redstar memory for a long time. Redstar on course to win a first piece of men's silverware since the merger. And they're going to do it in spectacular fashion.
My goodness.
From 2 down to 3-2 up, and who else but Daryl Nichols, Sean Fry?
Oh, Tommy. I've said it before, I'll say it again. This league does drama like no other. They had the league snatched away from them in the final 3 minutes. And now they've snatched the top 4 cup away from Floreat. It would be harsh for them to end the season with no silverware. They won't now by the looks of things.
Liam Murray and Ethan Mon will be thrown on for Phil Arnold and Andrew Palmer. Athena have found so much, so often in 2022.
And number 20, Andrew Palmer.
But it looks as though
To be replaced by number 5, Ethan Long, and number 12, Liam Murray.
Matiang forward. Redstar 3-2 up. And Higgins will come away.
Oh, crafty. I'm not sure how much he was fouled, but he got a little bit of contact, drew it and went down.
And he has been the inspiration to this comeback.
Oh,
absolutely no doubt about it.
Absolutely sensational in this second half. It's rare you see a midfielder just exert his dominance on a game in the way the Redstar number 10 has. Finding holes, finding pockets and bringing all his teammates around him. He's given everyone an extra 10% around him, hasn't he? What a win. Or will there be one more twist off?
Wouldn't put anything past it happening. Saldaris with the turn around the corner, looking for Mum. Petkov was lurking. Fuller's leading the chase. Got to go now for Floreat. Rezai, twinkle toes in the area.
Surely
the layoff. Liam Murray striking. His effort blocked. And Daryl Nickel comes away with the ball. And Redstar fly off the canvas to floor Floreat, the champions, in spectacular fashion. From 2-0 down to win 3-2. Redstar get their revenge for a run of games which Floreat have seemingly had the better of them for.
Unbelievable.
But Callum Salmon's team find something in the final 20 minutes of the season to come from behind and complete one of the greatest comebacks in the NPL WA men's era. Over to you for some quick final thoughts, Sean Fry.
All right, final thoughts. One of the best leagues in the world, best sport in the world. How good is that? That little bit of revenge. Athena will still look back on a successful season, a night series and a league double. But gee, they would have wanted that top 4 cup to make it a treble. But you can't keep going to the well and keep coming out with late winners. That's just football. Sometimes they go against you, and tonight is Red Stars' night. Congratulations to them.
Unbelievable finish to this 2022 NPL WA men's season. A brilliant campaign, a brilliant year. Twists and turns aplenty, thrills and spills. This game, the definition of the madness that we've seen throughout the whole year. Floreat leading by 2-0. Phil Arnold and Bailey Brown Montgomery with a pair of first half strikes, and Floreat were on course for a treble at that point, but Red Star came roaring back by their inspirational skipper Andy Higgins. He drove the team forward. They got one back with around 20 minutes or so to play, and then Daryl Nickel, the Golden Boot winner and the favourite for the gold medal, stepped up when it mattered most, and Red Star complete the unlikely of comebacks. Down to Sean Fry for the trophy presentations now. Red Star with their first piece of men's silverware since the merger at the beginning of the year. Join us tomorrow for more Top 4 Cups final action from State League Division 1. But for now, from Dorrien Gardens, it's good night. Red Star winners of the Top 4 Cup in the NPL WA men's competition by 3-2. Good night, everyone.
To assist in the presentations, we will start with our 4 match officials. Starting with our on-field referee, Shane Skinner, our first assistant, Arvin Shanmuganathan, second assistant, Lawson Rimmer, and fourth official, Josh Minella. Well, it's a pressure cooker environment for players. It is for referees as well, and once again, our men have done themselves proud. Put your hands together for our officiating team today. I'll now invite our runners-up to come forward and collect their medals, starting with number 1, Jason Soldaris, number 6, Jesse Fuller, number 8, Sean McManus, number 9, Robert Petkov, number 10, Nicholas Ambrosio, number 11, Dennis Gallen, number 15, Chris Soldaris, number 16, Bailey Brown Montgomery, number 18, Phil Arnold, number 20, Andrew Palmer, number 21, Lat Matiang, number 3, Alexander Christodoulakis, number 5, Ethan Mom, number 12, Liam Murray, Oscar De Felice. I'd also like to invite the Floreat Athena coaching staff to come forward and collect their medals. Before we hand our medals out to our champions tonight, the player adjudged to be best of fields in the men's top 4 cup final is awarded the Gary Marocchi medal. I'll now get Gary to announce the winner.
Thank you, Sean. Great game, Daryl Nickel. 2 goals, wins the game for the club. Well done, Daryl. The winner.
Well, rumblings of an injury concern coming into this one. You can't doubt this man, though. Fantastic performance, Daryl. We'll now invite the Redstar team to come forward and collect their medals, starting with number 1, Riley Stevenson. Number 2, Sam Riak. Number 3, Blair Govan. Number 4, Declan Hughes. Number 5, Ryan Lowry. Number 9, Daryl Nickel. Number 10, Andy Higgins. Number 12, Nicholas Walsh. Number 14, Jock Dow. Number 19, Ryan Finney. Number 8, Tommy Hoff. Number 11, Oscar Malfiore. Number 13, Carl Murray. Number 20, Joseph Pollard. Number 24, Sonny O'Shea. Number 25, Sean O'Connor. Number 27, Louis Hadfield. And the captain, number 16, Ellis Healy. I'll also invite the Perth Redstar coaching staff to come forward and collect their medals.
Tell me nothing. We give it to the people, spread it across the country. Here we go back. This is the moment. Tonight is the night. We'll fight till it's over. So we put our hands up like the ceiling can't hold us. Like the ceiling can't hold us. Here we go back. This is the moment. Tonight is the night. We'll fight till it's over. So we put our hands up like the ceiling can't hold us.
I'll now invite Callum and Ellis forward to be presented with the trophy.
And I'm eating at the beat like I give a little speed to a great.
Ladies and gentlemen, your NPL WA Men's Top 4 champions, Perth Redstar!
Like nobody was watching, I got my city right behind me. If I fall, they got me. Learn from that failure, gain humility, and then we keep marching. This is the moment, tonight is the night. Feel right till it's over.
what an incredible day of football. And two teams that have gone toe-to-toe all season. Commiserations to our runners-up, Floreat. Congratulations, Redstar, and all of our other champions today. Thank you once again to Perth Soccer Club. It's always a fantastic day here. Thank you for your hospitality. And of course, thank you, each and every one of you that's come and supported us today.